Hello, Maverick traders, and welcome out to your daily market roundup. This is August here, and I'll be breaking down today's market price action. It's May 15th, Thursday. Let's get into it. As always, we'll be taking a look at broader market analysis, take a look at what's really moving in the markets, take a look at some possible setups ahead. Let's get into it.
Disclaimer. This video was created for professional stock and option traders. Maverick Trading is a proprietary trading firm that employs professional traders around the world. Our traders trade firm capital and keep 70 to 80% of profits they generate. All trades and analysis in this video are for professional traders only. If you are interested in becoming a professional trader for Maverick, click the apply button in the video description. Let's break down what happened today.
So jumping into market analysis, let's just jump right into the headlines and the numbers. I must say that not a whole lot had changed since last week. So as far as the market goes, there's two things that remains the same. That's the market remains bullish, and we are seeing that low volatility that continues to fall. So those two conditions remain the same. Now you can see that in the market performance today, Dow Jones up nicely, 0.65. S&P following suit. Here's the Qs and the small caps. Pretty much everything is up across the board in the broader markets. Oil was down 2.5%, and then gold rebounds higher at 1.70% after yesterday's drop. So overall, market remains in that happy mood. And you can actually see that in that advanced decline line and also in that plus minus 50 MA. I must say that that number has climbed up very nicely now, only down 31% in the red. Remember, for the most part, that number was really split at around 50 or 60 to 40. That's the number how we were seeing. And now we're seeing a nice reversal going from almost down to 90% in the red to now only down 30% below the 50 MA. Nice little movements across the board. And let's just take a look at the markets here. So the markets, again, you can see that we had a nice little base here. We gapped higher over the weekend, and pretty much since then, really no profit taking if you look at it. Market continues to push higher. So I think that's just really where we are. We probably continue to run higher before we can even run into some resistance level. I don't think we are close yet. I think 6,000 on the S&P. Will take a look at it as a possible resistance. So that's really where we are in the markets across the board. Take a look at the Qs, same thing. Even small cap seems to be catching up here. Now let's just take a look at where the sector heat map is. So you can see that most of the things are in the green today. Where we're seeing a hurt is this healthcare. And, we talked about it even last week, is really that's where we're seeing the weakness. But you can see that outside of that, the tech seems to be roaring back up higher. So a lot of the usual suspects gaining strength. I'll be talking more about where the relative strength is. But let's just take a look at the market outlook here. Again, nothing has changed. Like I said, remaining at +2. Now, when we take a look at potential trades, last week, again, I had a lot more bullish than the bearish ones. But as I went through the list, all the bulls stayed strong and all the bears stayed weak. And really, that's what we want to capture here in the markets. Having that balanced approach, going for the outperformers, and then at the same time, have some underperformers in there to sort of balance the portfolio. So the biggest one last week really was the GE as the biggest gainer. So again, all the ones that we can go through, they're all sort of going higher. But what I've done is that I've kind of take a look at where is that big move happening. And it seems like it's the aerospace. That's where the movement's happening. GE was one of them last week. So I've kind of gone in and added 4 more. And we'll take a look at it one by one. Let's just start with the GE aerospace. You can see that that's really where we were last week. We were right up against that resistance. As you can see that this thing has nicely broken out higher. Now, along the same lines, let's just take a look at some of the other outperformers that I do like in the same sector. Now, taking a look at RTX, this is another one right up against that resistance. This kind of reminds me a little bit of that GE from last week, looking for a breakout above that resistance. Here's another one. That's the GD. And you can see that this thing is also up against a resistance. You can see that nice little candle across the board in that same sector here, getting above that 280 area. Again, these are the ones that I'm looking for more on the breakout. Now, here's the other one, HWM. You can see that this thing is also just slowly creeping higher, going from just this month, going from 136 now almost at 161. Here's the last one is Rocket Lab, and same thing right here, resistance. I actually like this one a lot better because again, that's where we are seeing a nice jump in in the volume. I haven't seen that jump in big volume in other ones, but this one really stands out here. Nice breakout on a bigger volume. That goes on the list here on the bullish one as well. So again, that's really where the outperformance is. A lot of the bullish ones that I have on are continuing to run. So really at that point, you get to the point where how much exposure you really want to add. You know, some of the best ones are still running. Really at this point, not a whole lot of shifting or any managing to do. It's just pretty much working the way exactly we want to. If you want to look for more exposure, I think this is where I would like to add a little bit more exposure. Now, great job to last week. Anybody that was in this United Health, I had it on my list, and we're talking about how this thing likely continue fall, and you can see that this thing had a big fall on that big volume, and you can see that it continues to stay weak. So overall, right now, we are getting the big volume. A lot of times that's a sign to get out. But again, great trade overall in the very short period of time. So again, that's pretty much it that we have on our outlook. I think market likely to remain bullish and low volatility. So again, this is where we get to adjust our timeline, adjust our expectation, and adjust the aggressiveness that we're looking for in our strategies. As far as the economic report goes, tomorrow we got the preliminary consumer sentiment, but that's pretty much it. Not a whole lot on the earnings front. I think this is back to one of those Fridays where things, stay calm for most part of the day and not really a whole lot happening here as far as the volatility goes, and as far as, big shift in the markets go. So that's really where we are at. We'll see how things go tomorrow. We'll see continuation in those setups that we just looked at, and then we'll just talk about our outlook for going into next week. Thanks for joining here. Happy trading. See you in the next one.